All right. One of the questions that I get asked probably the most is, what is the tarot? How does it work? What is the whole vibe with it? Is it a fortune telling tool? Is it voodoo? Is it dark magic? Is it light magic? What is the tarot really? And there is so much mystery around the tarot, and misunderstandings and false perceptions. So tarot, when we typically think of tarot, we typically think of the Rider-Waite tarot, where it's pretty familiar sort of imagery on there typically. And then you also have obviously different sort of like ones that are derived from there. Like this is the beautiful Light Seer Tarot by Chris Ann, which is amazing. It's one of my favorite decks. This is a very, very beautiful deck. The Wild Unknown Tarot. I got this from one of my clients, which was amazing because it's a first edition and they are not really in print anymore. Like you can't buy it. And so I did a reading for one of my clients the one day at their house, and she came to me and she said to me, "You know what, we've had this deck for a couple of years. We don't really know who gave it to us. We counted them, all 78 cards, and if you want them, you can have it." It's like, like I really, really flipped. But so what is the tarot really? So the one of the biggest things to understand about the tarot is that tarot is not fortune telling. And also, tarot, even though it's represented by the 78 cards, the major arcana, the 56 minor arcanas, 14 cards per suit with the wands, the cups, swords, and pentacles, also called coins sometimes. Tarot is not about the cards. The cards are a representation of tarot. Tarot is an energy. It's the energy of life. It is about the universal laws. It's about cause and effect. It's about the law of attraction. It's about the details when it comes to like the secret, for example. That is really what tarot is about. All right. So if you can learn the tarot, and I've been teaching the tarot to a lot of people. I've got an online course. There's a link for it in the description for it. If you're into oracles, there's a link for a free oracle course that I have. But the thing to understand about the tarot, it is about the energy of life, and it's about the cycles of life, and it's about the cycles within the cycles. And the tarot itself is telling a story, or it tells multiple stories. But when you take the major arcana, for example, which are those, and these are not really sorted out now because I just really finished doing some of my weekly readings here for my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to show you a couple. I'm not going to get too much into all of them. But if you, for example, take a look at these are the major arcana cards, the bigger things. The Sun, the World, what do we have there? The Tower, the Magician, the Fool, Strength energy, Judgment energy, and so forth, Wheel of Fortune. Those 22 cards are like, they are a story, and it's a story of the human journey, or of the soul journey rather, through the human experience. So when we start with the Fool, for example, which I saw there now, this is the soul in energy, in pure energy, in the quantum field, ready to go into that experience of life, prepared for that experience of life, knowing that whatever happens in life, that there are safety measurements and solutions and beautiful soul family, and everything is already built into the life plan. And all you need to do is to align with that, and for that to flow. And in everything that I do, in all my work, tarot, regression hypnosis, Reiki, crystal healing, NLP, life coaching, CBT, all those things that I do, it is all about finding the inner magic in you, unlocking your magic, finding it, unlocking it, and helping you to maintain it. And we are all different. And, here's the one thing about being a tarot reader, or two things actually. One, you need to sort of be curious, because the universe has got all answers, but it's only going to tell to those who are asking. So the best sort of tarot readers, and I think that's even why I'm really into regression hypnosis, like past life regression and those things, it's because it's the ones that want to know that get the answers. And it's the same thing with tarot. It's when you want to know, but you want to know in the interest of the other person. And that brings me to my second point. When you do tarot, you cannot have a personal sort of investment in what you want the outcome to be. And in that way, and I think what makes it very, very difficult, I've been doing the tarot for more than 20 years now, but it's only like in the last 4 years, maybe 4.5 years, that I've really been, just giving readings to people, because it's a simple concept to accept, but it's such a difficult concept. But once you get it, oh my goodness, it's that as a tarot reader, you are the one that's giving the message, but you are not the message itself. And in order to be able to do that, when you do readings, you want to be at the best that you can possibly be in your health, in your own mental state, in your own personal life. Because the thing about giving a tarot reading, it's about giving the messages and not having so much of a personal investment in what the person does with the information, And this is where we sometimes fall off the cart, because we want to give people only happy messages, or we want to give them the powerful message. There's one that we often, fall for. But it's just about giving the message. It's about the universe giving you the message. It's like astrology, This is what the planets are doing at the moment, and because this is what the planets are doing at the moment, this is the energy at the moment, and this is how it impacts you. And so tarot is like a weather report. One of my absolute favorite oracle card creators and fellow Cancerian, Colette Baron-Reid, she always says that it is like a weather report. What you do with it is up to you, And the thing that I always say to people with the tarot is that, wouldn't you rather know if you are heading in a direction that is not going to serve your highest good? Because if you know where you are heading and you know this is not serving your highest good, then you can do something about it. You don't have to be a victim of circumstances. And I think that is where the whole fortune telling thing comes in, and that's where the fear comes in. Because the thing to remember is that it doesn't matter how elaborate your tarot spread is, and how deep you go into it. Technically speaking, this is what a tarot reading gives you, and in many ways, that's pretty much the long and short of it. Where you currently are, how did you get there through your energy, your decisions, your subconscious beliefs of your worth and your value, and where is that taking you? And that's the fortune telling thing. But when you realize I'm going there, and you realize yourself, that's not where I want to be going, you can change that. Because when you change, everything else changes, There are certain things that are in our life plan, in our life path, that we agree to in this life. But the thing about the universe is that just because you agree, it doesn't mean that you have to do it. You can say, you know what, I know I took on a huge contract in this life, and I don't really know if I'm up to dealing with that. And I think I'm willing to release some of that. And you can even write it down, and you can sort of like tear it up, but always for the highest good, all right? The thing with tarot is... when you really think about tarot, so when we think about tarot, so tarot's got a very long history, and it comes from nobody really knows for a fact. First of all, nobody knows for certain where tarot comes from, the true origin of it. Because if you look at it, first of all, there are historic traces going back to tarot back in 10th century China. But there's so little information about that. A lot of people don't even know about that. And then there is a belief that tarot might be coming from the more Middle Eastern areas, and it was sort of brought about by the gypsies, and to like sort of like import and export in France and like maybe Venice and other parts of Europe that are really, really amazing. At some point, tarot was all the rage in Italy, and if you were sort of like a painter who could like create these decks of cards, oh my goodness. And then, of course, it became a thing. It was political at the time. Only sort of aristocrats could have it, or you could, you could only play it at certain times. And, and initially at some point in more like the European areas, it was more sort of just like playing cards. At some point, the major and the minor arcana wasn't so together with each other, and then it was brought together. But tarot in itself really sort of stepped forward quite powerfully with the dawn of sort of like the new golden age. And, they had quite prominent figures. Even some people may be familiar with the name Aleister Crowley. And Aleister Crowley was very heavily invested with putting together something that's called the Thought Tarot deck, or the Thought Tarot deck, however you say that, the Thought Tarot deck, which comes from what is known as the teachings of thought, which is this very ancient sort of Egyptian teaching. So there's also believes that tarot is coming from ancient Egyptian now, it's like maybe 5,000 years ago. But again, nobody knows for sure. But tarot itself has got a lot of mystery, a lot of mysticism, a lot of symbiology in it, astrology, numerology, Kabbalistic influences, Hebrew influences, ancient Judaism influences, lots and lots and lots of those things, very enlightening, New Agey things. And the thing obviously about New Age is there's nothing new about New Age, because New Age things are sort of like the older sort of things, And the interesting thing with tarot is the more you learn, the more it opens up to you. I've been doing tarot for years and years and years, and then I think probably about 3 years ago, I studied numerology quite in-depthly, and when I then looked at tarot, it was like this whole new world that was opening in front of me that's always been there, but I didn't have access to it. The same thing happened when I was studying astrology. As I continued to study astrology, I continued to study symbols, as I continued to study living closer with the earth, so like paganistic practices. There's a lot of hermetics in tarot. So the more you learn about yourself and about life, the more tarot gives you. It's an ongoing journey, and it's about the more you learn about the laws of life and the laws of nature and how life works and how energy works, and the more honest you can become with yourself, and the more you can love yourself, and especially when your intention is to help others, so I'm not very much into the whole fantasy readings, no judgment at all, or maybe a little bit, but the thing is that tarot has become so popular online that it's almost like Reiki, which in many ways is sad because I'm a Reiki master and a Reiki teacher and a Reiki practitioner, that suddenly everybody's just these masters, and you don't realize that energy is important, and whatever you say and whatever you do, and I can be quite a bit of a jokey person in my personal capacity, I'm one of those people, I'm either 100% in or I'm not in at all. But I came to realize very early that even when people know me personally, and my family, my friends, people in my close circles that know me, that I socialize with, when they ask you a question and it comes from the tarot, they automatically take it more seriously. It could be, for example, like you could say, like, what, and I'm just making an example here, but you can say that, religion is it's an absolute crock of shit, nonsense. But if you are in that tight spot and you go to that priest, no matter how against religion you are, whether you're an atheist, you sort of expect this priest, this pastor, this whatever, deacon, imam, whatever, that they're going to sort of give you something profound that's going to be useful, and you're going to take them slightly more seriously than you might take, just another Tom, Dick, or Harry. And it's the same thing with tarot. And the thing to remember is that when you read tarot, tarot is serious business. Tarot is not a joke. And a lot of people take it way too lightly. I've had people before that's like, listen, you sort of want to take this a bit more seriously. And they didn't, and they suffered bad consequences from that. I suffered bad consequences from things before. I don't read tarot if I'm not in a good space, if I can't balance my energy, if I'm sick. I don't do it because I know that I'm not 100% present, maybe I'm not 100% objective, and you want to be responsible because you experience, I need to sneeze, I'm sorry. Oh, goodness, I'm so sorry guys. But what you say to people has an impact on their life, and you create karma not just for them but also for yourself. But even with that, it's not a scare tactic, it's about the highest good for someone. And I have said no to people before for readings because I would know that instinctively this wouldn't be the best information for them. You can be the most seasoned reader. Sometimes certain information just won't come through. And it all depends I would say on your intention for why you do what you do. My intention, and when I became clear about this, everything changed for me, even the people that I get as clients. My intention is to do what I can to support you to become the best version of yourself. To get the information, because tarot you read like a book. And, you know, I always say tarot's got 78 cards, the alphabet's got 26 letters. And with the A to Z, you can have all the writing in the world, and even A can be different things in like different accents and where it is in a sentence and those sort of things. So there's 26 letters in the alphabet, it's got all the writing in the world. Now imagine if you times that by 3. The tarot can tell you so much more, but it's the more you open your mind and the more you train and the more you study, because a lot of people's got this thing of like, oh, I just pick up messages intuitively. Oh, I'm so intuitive, my team keep on talking to me. And yes, they can. But I always like to compare it to, let's imagine you're a person who likes to bake very sort of like creative cakes, you know, or maybe do painting or whatever, landscaping, fish tanks, whatever the case may be. You may get great inspiration, but the more you know, the more inspiration you can get. And the more you know, the more you can express that inspiration in a way that is relatable and tangible to others. And it's the same thing with the tarot. So the tarot is a guide for you in life. It's nothing to be scared of. You want to be responsible with it, but it's not something to be afraid of. It's a way that the universe speaks to us. It's a divinatory tool, in a way that the universe can speak to us, and it's something that you will continue to learn for the rest of your life from. And that is why it's such an honor and such a pleasure for me to teach other people how to read the tarot, and to do it responsibly, to make them realize that the more you do it, the more your life will change. Because the thing is, the universe is speaking to you through the tarot. So you consistently keep on getting things that you didn't get before, and you're like, huh, I would have not thought about it like that. Literally, it blows your mind all the time, you know. And for those of you that might be interested, I do have a step-by-step tarot reading course. It's in the description down below in the link. It's quite detailed. Just to also let you know with that, there is no downloadable PDF with it with the basic meanings of the cards. And the reason why there isn't is, I tried this before, I've taught a lot of people tarot before, you often get very stuck on the meaning of what's in these sheets. But the thing to remember is that, and I mean, my course is like 10 hours long, and it's, you know, when you are new, you find it very detailed. If you've been doing it for a while, you find it very detailed. But in essence, it is just a door opening for you. And you'll continue to learn as you go along. And the thing is, you're never going to know everything. But it's one of those things, like it's like driving. The more you do it, the better you get at it, you know, or like raising children. It's maybe a better example. I was saying to my sister the other day, she's got 2 boys. And, you know, she was saying, like, it's like the younger one doesn't need as much as the older one, you know, and it's amazing. And I said, yes, but you also want to remember that you as a parent are becoming better at being a parent without even realizing it. So you raise better children, you know, better people for the future. And that's the thing about tarot. The goal for me specifically is to help others find their light. To, you know, there's this beautiful African saying that goes something in the lines of, like, you know, it's about planting a tree, and you may never sit beneath the shade of that tree, but it's for the next generation. And we complain so much about the generations, but when you really think about it, you know, I can't change the past, but what can I do now to make the future different? And that's the guidance that tarot gives us, because when it comes to life, the full picture we see is only a part of the picture. But tarot that speaks from the universal energy, it's almost